Welcome back to Coca's Pizza here in Canfield. We got the kicker edition today. Just talked to Ollie Shalash, who is the punter for the Canfield Cardinals. And now we are joined by a senior place kicker and Joel Miasek. Joel, thanks for coming out tonight, man.
Great to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
We had some good conversation before we hopped on here. Second year kicking now for Canfield. Last year, one of your first opportunities was in a big game against Chardon. You were talking about the win factors and everything going on. Talk about the nerves you had in that game a little bit.
I had a ton of nerves coming into because Thursday, Pav told me that I'd be kicking that day. So I was like already just Friday in school was just constant nerves. And then we got there, freezing cold, tons of wind. I'm like looking at the flags. It kept changing directions, and it was really nerve-wracking. And then went out there after the first touchdown, already mentally prepared, ready to kick it. And then all I hear is Pav just screaming Schneider because he wasn't out there. And I was just so confused. I'm just like, what's going on? Why is he screaming Schneider? Just see Ryan just sprint right past me. And I'm just now freaking out. I'm just like, oh, no. What's going on? Thought we're doing something else. And then finally took the snap, kicked it, and the wind was going crazy. I looked at him like I barely made that. It was like I just watched him like, please just go in.
Just go in, please. That's a great first impression of varsity football right there. What got you into playing football in the first place? Of course, you're the place kicker. You've played soccer as well at Canfield High School. So, originally what got you in as a kicker?
Well, I really love watching football, and I always was interested in kicking because played soccer, and I was like, oh, I would love to do that once. Mm-hmm. And then it was my sophomore year, and our kicker was Schmidt, and he asked, do you guys want to come out and try kicking? I'm like, sure, why not? I've always wanted to. And as soon as I got there, I fell in love with it. It was just the rush of adrenaline, too, when you kick. It's a lot of pressure on you, and it feels great.
It's like a trend at Canfield. All the soccer players are their kickers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Ben Pugh last year. He played soccer. You guys this year, both Ollie and yourself, are kickers for Canfield. Who's the next generation of Canfield kickers coming up from the soccer team?
Right now, we got Nate Rittenauer, who's a sophomore, and he has a lot of potential with 2 years ahead of him still. And from there, who knows? I mean, there is so much talent that you can find. I mean, at first, no one really thought that like Nate was gonna be that good, and in 1 year, he's grown so much.
What's the difference between kicking a soccer ball and a football?
Well, this hurts me a lot because with soccer, you don't have to lock your ankle to for kicking and stuff in certain ways, but with football, you have to lock your ankle and also keep your head down in a way that's way different than soccer. So sometimes I'll go back to kicking a soccer ball when I'm kicking a football and it goes completely wrong, or the soccer ball do the football style and it just goes completely wrong. So I gotta remember how to do it the right way every time.
I asked Ollie this, and he said it took 8 guys to put the pads on him the first time when you were taking pictures. What was that feeling like for you the first time you put those pads on?
I would have to say it was kind of an awkward thing because I was just I'm looking around so how is everyone else doing this? Because I thought it was just they went on and you put the jersey on. There's clips everywhere. I'm just I do not know what to do. And then the jersey, I did not realize of how stretchable they are. I was looking at them, just so how do I do this? And I had to have 2 of the people pulling it down on me because I didn't know how to get on myself.
What were the challenges of kicking with the pads on? Obviously, it's different. As a soccer player, you just got your jersey on. It's flexible. You feel fine. And then you put the pads on. It's some added weight. What's the differences?
I'd have to say when twisting your body or almost on kickoff, you kind of throw your body with the momentum. Feels kind of awkward sometimes with the pads on, especially with your arms. If you use your arms when you kick or raise it up, it gets kind of caught a little bit. But besides that, really isn't that different.
So this is really your first year bursting onto the scene as the place kicker for Canfield. You've done a tremendous job with extra points and field goals. How much does the special teams unit work every day in practice on kicking extra points?
With extra points, it's usually about, I'd say, usually get around 10 reps at least with just extra point, and then we'll usually move on to field goals from every hash, just moving it back. And then also we get our secondaries in, which is really helpful because a lot of times we'll have injuries, and it really shows of how much we put special teams forward.
Aiden Rogers is the long snapper on the special teams unit. Gavin Raymond is your holder as well. What's the communication like? What signals are you looking at to get into your rhythm to kick it?
With Gavin, first we'll count the line to make sure that everyone's there and stuff. And usually I'll be like looking up at my target, and then I'll find it. And I usually just see Gavin turn his head, look at me. That's when I usually know like I can give him the signal to kick. And then I look at Rogers for the ball to be snapped. And once I see it snapped, I take my first step.
Yeah. So you guys had a little surprise to start the ball game
Yeah.
2 weeks ago against Talon with that 2-point conversion. Did you know that was happening?
We practiced that all week in practice. Like it was always first play for field goal or for a touchdown. We were going to be doing that regardless. So it was, I wouldn't say nerve-wracking at that point, but I was just really hoping it would work out.
When is your opportunity going to be to throw a touchdown with that or a 2-point conversion?
I don't know.
At any point, like maybe Gavin could shovel it to you and you could throw it back?
Or I could go to Gavin too.
There you go.
Shovel right to him.
Oh, that's funny. All right, we'll move on a little bit. So soccer season as well was a great success. 2 losses, 6 ties, 10 wins. So a great soccer season. Unfortunately, lost to Poland last night. But overall, how fun was it to be with this group as a senior? And, now that it's over, kind of reflecting back a little bit.
I'd have to say it's probably one of the best times of my life. It really gives you a second family. I mean, you go there, and it's just everything you love about it. There's really no bad stuff about soccer for us. And it just great times we have together.
How was it last night? Good atmosphere, Ollie said, with a whole student section. A little bit nervous there in the playoffs?
Oh, yeah. The student section was very rowdy. I mean, it was great to hear it too. And with the tension between us and Poland, it's nothing like else. But really, it's a great time playing out there.
You could always say, though, that you beat the Poland Bulldogs twice during your football career, right? So you do have that in your back pocket, which is a positive.
And districts last year.
Last year. You're right. When you look at your schedule, it's obviously super busy. Soccer, football, you're practicing after the football practice, getting your kicks down. Then you got homework in school. How hectic is this fall schedule for you?
I wouldn't say it's been too bad, but it is a lot because sometimes you get like lost in track of what you actually have. Like there's been days where I'm like, I can put more practice into this or get some extra work in. And then I realized I have so much more to do when I get home and still do it.
With that, what is your favorite class you're taking currently at Canfield right now?
Currently, I have to say my woodshop class.
Okay, yeah.
My class it's full of a lot of my friends and it's a lot of seniors, so we're having a lot of fun in
That's
there.
a popular answer. Still making those benches there?
Yep.
What project are you working on outside of that?
Right now I'm working on a huge sword and a wine rack.
So a wooden sword and a wine rack.
Yep.
Okay, nice. That'll help you in the future.
Yep.
I hope. What is your favorite football team? You talked about getting into football because you love watching it. So who do you love watching?
The Green Bay Packers.
All right. So this is like a cult we got here at Canfield with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. It's a big one.
So how is that on Sunday? Do you guys all get together and watch the game or what?
Yeah. At team dinners, like for example, we were at the Coca's house the one night, and we're just in the theater room watching it. There was about 6 Packers fans, and one person made one comment. We're all just jumping on about it. It was amazing.
What are some things you like to do outside of football and soccer?
I really enjoy going to the gym.
Okay. And with that, I'm guessing you do a lot of leg strength because you're a soccer player and a football player. So give us a daily routine of your gym routine and workout.
So I usually like a 3-day split of legs, chest, and arms. So for legs, I'll do a lot of glutes and also hamstrings, always making sure those stay in good shape. And then I would end it with a lot of calves because even though it helps with it, it's always stretching. Like that's a muscle you gotta make sure you always have loose.
Obviously, that's paid off a lot because I think I've seen a lot of high school teams around this area. You're one of the most consistent kickers of getting the ball to the back of the end zone for a touchback, dude. You're a lethal weapon with your leg. Extra points as well. You've been money. We talked about that. So how much has that weight training helped you with the leg strength of kicking balls out of the end zone at times?
I have to say tremendously because I remember last year I was struggling. I was getting it maybe to like the 10. Sometimes it was getting to the 5, and I was like, I need to really just get these 5 more yards on it. And I really grinded in the off season. I felt like it really paid off.
The last couple of weeks, you changed up your routine a little bit. Of course, at any time you could kick them out of the end zone, but as of late, you're trying to pinpoint certain corners. Is that something you guys have worked on in practice? Maybe when you play a really good special teams unit.
Pat wants us to pinpoint it kind of to the bottom left corner, so we can just all collapse onto them, force them to the line and outside, try getting them there. Especially with the good returners. That's what we try doing most of the time.
So you talk about last year with Chardon and the nerves and the playoff atmosphere with the wind blowing and howling all over the place. This year, you got to feel a little bit more comfortable when you get into a playoff atmosphere this week against New Philadelphia.
I feel great about it. I'm excited,
Yeah.
ready for it. It's way less nerves. There's still some nerves, but not as much as last year.
Now, has it ever creeped into the back of your mind of kicking a game-winning field goal?
Multiple times. I thought I was going to get to do it Dover.
Yeah.
And I was actually so ready for it. Even after because I missed one early in the game. Then I saw the other kicker miss, and immediately I was just like, I'm making it.
Yeah.
I'm making it. I want to.
So I always see on TV, they always show the kickers, when the long drive is sustained, and it's like they're always kicking their warm-ups. During that Dover game, you're doing the same thing. What are some things going through the back of your mind, when you're kicking there?
Well, first, you just making sure you want to make it. You got to think, okay, I'm making it. This is what's going to happen. You got to see it through first. Going over your steps a lot too. That's really important because messing up your steps, the slightest bit can cause you to just easily kick it wrong.
What's the most nervous kick that you've had outside of that Chardon game? One that you looked at and you're like, oh, this might be a tough one to get through, or if there's a lot of wind. What is a kick that you remember that you're like, oh, I barely made that?
I'd have to say was at this is a good one. I'd have to say at West Branch.
Okay.
First field goal.
Yeah.
Because that I was just like, okay, I gotta make this. First time out there. Because I never really kicked a field goal. Never went out there yet. And I was like, okay, this is my first one, first game. I gotta make this. And even though it was kind of close, I was just still really breathing heavy and stuff. You get there, the adrenaline.
And you got it, right?
Yeah.
1 for 1 on the season. You've done a fantastic job, man. Obviously, all the hard work in the offseason has really paid off for you. Any future plans for college? Do you want to kick at the college level at some point? I know Ben Pugh, who's still doing a great job at Westminster, Canfield grad, who was the kicker last year. Are there any thoughts in your mind of advancing to the next level?
I would like to. I mean, unless I don't see really offers, but if I go to a college and I can maybe try walking on as an opportunity, but I don't really see it as going out of my way to a different college just to go to. But if I get the chance to, I would love to.
Academically, anything that you want to study in college, and maybe some colleges you're looking at right now?
Right now, I want to go into I'm more of a business major with analytics or statistics. And with colleges, it's really all around the board with that because so many schools offer great programs for it, and it's just to see where I can go.
You're talking about sports analytics and statistics, or just general?
Just general.
Okay. Last question for you. Senior season. Obviously, you just finished up your soccer season. A fantastic season you guys had as a boys soccer team. It's football playoff time in Ohio. What are some things you're most excited about, moving into this week 11?
Most excited for, I have to say, is just the adrenaline you get from going with them. You start your day on Friday, you wake up, and you already know what time it is, and you're just preparing mentally for it. You get there. The warm-ups you go out for, it's a great time. And then after the games too, because winning those games is something like no other.
What's the go-to post-game meal then?
Ooh.
I know Brock Lowry's big on the steak and shake. I know some guys are huge on sheets.
Yeah.
What's your go-to meal?
Probably have to say sheets or Chipotle.
Okay. Yeah. What do you get at Chipotle and what do you get at sheets?
Sheets, I would probably get usually an icy or a Arizona iced tea. Get one of those. I'll go over to Chipotle, usually before the game, actually. I'll go there, get it. I'll have usually about half of a burrito, and then I'll save for after. It's usually my go-to.
Those burritos are fueling you up, man. Hey, thanks for coming out to Coca's Pizza here in Canfield. It was a pleasure talking to you. Good luck in the rest of the season. Hopefully you guys make a great run to the state tournament, and good luck as well in college as well. This was Joel Miasek, Canfield kicker for the Canfield Cardinals. We talked to Ollie. We talked to Joel, both kickers for the Cardinals and 2 seniors, brought to you by Coca's Pizza here in Canfield.